My friend, let me tell you something straight from the heart. Learning English is not just about grammar rules, big vocabulary, or sounding perfect. It's about opening doors. It's about giving yourself the chance to step into a bigger world, to connect with people you never thought you could, to express the thoughts and dreams that live inside you. I know, sometimes you feel nervous when you speak. You worry about mistakes, about people laughing, about not being good enough. But let me tell you the truth. Every mistake you make is proof that you are trying. Every word you say, no matter how broken, is a step forward. Confidence is not about speaking perfectly. It's about speaking anyway. Think about this. English is just a tool to help you build your future, to help you travel, to learn, to grow, and to change your life. Imagine yourself meeting new people, watching movies without subtitles, getting better opportunities, and inspiring others who are struggling just like you. That future is real, and it starts with the small steps you take today. Don't wait for the perfect time to start. Don't wait until your English is ready. Start now. Speak in your daily life, talk to yourself in the mirror, practice with friends, listen, read, and repeat. Even 5 minutes every day will make a difference. The secret is consistency. Step by step, word by word, you'll see yourself grow. And remember this, you are not learning English to impress anyone. You are learning it for yourself, for your dreams, for the opportunities waiting for you. When you speak, don't think about who is judging you. Think about the future version of you who will thank you for being brave today. So don't be afraid. Don't stop. Believe in yourself. One day, you'll look back and realize that the struggle you are facing right now was the foundation of your strength, and you'll smile, knowing that you never gave up. Your journey starts today. Your words have power, and English is the bridge that can carry you to the life you dream of. Speak, try, fail, learn, and rise, because your voice matters. So many people treat English like an exam they must pass, like a mountain they are forced to climb, or a challenge where one small mistake means failure. They focus on grammar rules, on memorizing long lists of vocabulary, and on avoiding errors at all costs. And because of this mindset, English becomes something heavy, something stressful, something that feels like a punishment instead of a gift. But here's the truth. English is not a test. English is a tool that can help you express who you are, share your ideas, and create opportunities you never imagined possible. Think about the tools we use in our everyday life. A phone is not perfect. It might sometimes hang, sometimes the battery runs low, sometimes the screen has a crack. But do we throw it away just because it isn't perfect? No, we use it anyway because it connects us with people, it allows us to do our work, and it helps us explore the world. English is just like that phone. Even if your English is broken, even if it's not polished or fluent, it still works as a tool to connect you, to help you move forward, to let you enter spaces you could not enter before. The purpose of English is not to show perfection, it's to show connection. When you start looking at English as a tool instead of a test, the pressure disappears. You no longer feel like you are being judged every time you open your mouth. Instead, you feel like you are picking up a tool to build something for yourself. You realize that every word you say, no matter how small, is a brick in the foundation of your future. And if a brick is slightly cracked, does the entire building fall? No. You keep building, and with time, your structure becomes strong, steady, and impressive. Let's imagine a person who wants to learn how to cook. If they treated cooking like a test, they would be scared of every mistake, afraid that if they added a little too much salt or not enough sugar, they had failed completely. They would avoid cooking because they didn't want to look bad. But someone who sees cooking as a tool to feed themselves, to enjoy food, to share meals with family and friends, this person doesn't stop when they make a mistake. They laugh, they adjust, they try again. That is the exact attitude we need when learning English. Don't treat it like a final exam. Treat it like a tool that makes your life richer. And here's something powerful. When you use English as a tool, you stop comparing yourself with others. Too many people look at someone who speaks fluently and think, I will never be like them, so why even try? But remember, a tool doesn't have to be perfect to work. You don't need to sound like a native speaker to make a friend, to give an idea, to ask a question, or to share your story. The goal is communication, not competition. Even if you know just a few words, those words can carry your meaning. And the more you use those words, the more your toolbox expands naturally and without pressure. Think about how many doors can open when you treat English as your tool. You can watch a movie in its original language and suddenly understand the emotions in a deeper way. You can meet people from different countries and discover their culture, their traditions, their ways of thinking. You can apply for jobs, study abroad, or simply travel with more confidence. None of these things require perfect English. They require brave English. They require you to pick up the tool and use it, even if it's not polished, even if it's still developing. There are people who have built entire careers with imperfect English. They didn't wait until they were perfect because perfection never comes. They started using the language as soon as they could. They kept learning as they went, and they grew into their opportunities. That is the spirit you need. You don't wait for the tool to be shiny and flawless before you pick it up. You use it, and by using it, you get better at handling it. So the next time you feel afraid to speak, remind yourself, this is not a test. Nobody is standing there with a red pen to mark your mistakes. Nobody is calculating your score. What you are doing is simply using a tool, just like you would use a pen to write, a phone to call, or a car to travel. And just like those tools, the more you use English, the more natural it feels, the more useful it becomes, and the more confident you grow. When you hold this perspective, everything changes. The fear of judgment turns into courage, the frustration of mistakes turns into lessons, and the hesitation to start turns into motivation to keep going. You stop waiting for the right time or the perfect skills and start living with English today, in your daily life, in your small conversations, in your personal practice. And this shift from test to tool will be the beginning of your true journey toward confidence and fluency. One of the biggest fears people carry when learning English is the fear of making mistakes. You might think, what if I say the wrong word? What if I sound silly? What if people laugh? That fear holds so many people back. It makes them stay silent even when they want to speak. It makes them hide their ideas, even when those ideas are brilliant. But here's something you must truly believe. Every mistake you make is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of movement. Mistakes mean progress. They are proof that you are trying, proof that you are learning, proof that you are alive in the process of growth. Think about a child learning to walk. When a baby takes their first step, they fall. They fall again and again. But nobody laughs at the baby. Nobody tells them to stop trying. Everyone claps. Everyone cheers, because falling is part of learning to walk. Without falling, no child could ever learn to stand strong. The same is true for English. Your mistakes are like those little falls. They are the natural steps on the road to walking with confidence in a new language. If you look closely, mistakes are teachers. Every time you make one, the language itself whispers to you, showing you what to improve, where to grow, and how to get better. If you never make mistakes, it means you are never pushing yourself, never stepping out of your comfort zone. And without stepping out, there is no learning. Think about it. When you speak only the words you already know perfectly, you stay in the same place. But the moment you try a new word, even if you use it wrongly, you have stretched yourself. You have given yourself the chance to expand. That wrong step is actually a doorway into something new. Let me tell you a simple truth. The people who succeed in learning English are not the ones who never make mistakes. They are the ones who make the most mistakes and refuse to stop. They stumble, they mispronounce, they mix up tenses, they forget words in the middle of a sentence, but they keep going. They laugh at their mistakes, learn from them, and continue speaking. That's why they improve faster than the ones who stay silent out of fear. Silence might feel safe, but it doesn't teach you anything. Mistakes feel uncomfortable, but they teach you everything. Imagine you are learning to swim. If you stand at the edge of the pool, studying how others move their arms and legs, you might understand the theory perfectly. But until you jump into the water and make those awkward, clumsy strokes, you will never truly swim. You may swallow water, you may sink for a moment, you may splash too much, but every mistake teaches your body how to balance, how to float, how to move better. In the same way, learning English requires you to jump in. You will mix words, forget grammar, and maybe feel embarrassed sometimes, but that's how you learn to truly swim in the sea of a new language. And let me remind you, nobody in this world speaks perfectly, not even native speakers. They make grammar mistakes, they forget words, they mispronounce, they pause to think. If perfection was the rule, then even native speakers would fail their own language. So why put such impossible pressure on yourself? Your mistakes don't make you less intelligent, less capable, or less worthy. They make you human, and they make you a learner on the path of growth. Sometimes people around you might laugh, and yes, that hurts. But think about it carefully. Are they really laughing at you, or are they just surprised, maybe even inspired, that you are brave enough to try? And even if they laugh, let that laughter become your fuel. Prove to yourself that no matter what anyone thinks, your dreams are bigger than their opinions. Each mistake you make is not a reason to stop. It is a reason to keep going because it shows you that you are moving. Remember, progress is invisible at first. You don't wake up one morning suddenly fluent. Progress hides itself in the small mistakes you make today and the corrections you learn tomorrow. It hides in the word you mispronounce 10 times before finally saying it smoothly on the 11th try. It hides in the awkward pauses that slowly turn into confident sentences. Every mistake you make is like a seed planted in the soil of your learning. At first, it looks like nothing, maybe even like failure. But underground, growth is happening, silently, powerfully. One day, those seeds will grow into the strong tree of your confidence, and you will look back and realize that the mistakes you once feared were the very steps that carried you forward. So, instead of being afraid of mistakes, welcome them. When you make a mistake, smile, because it means you are alive in the process of learning. It means you are brave enough to try. It means you are not standing still. And if you keep making those mistakes, keep collecting them, keep learning from them, you will discover that progress has been with you all along, disguised as the errors you once wanted to avoid. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many people believe that confidence comes only after they become fluent, after their grammar is perfect, after their vocabulary is strong, after their accent sounds smooth. They imagine that one day, suddenly, confidence will arrive like a gift, and only then they will start speaking. But the reality is the complete opposite. Confidence does not come first. It grows from speaking. You don't wait for confidence to appear before you speak. You build it by speaking anyway, even when your voice shakes, even when your words stumble, even when your sentences feel broken. Think about the first time you rode a bicycle. You didn't wait until you were confident. You got on, your hands were shaking on the handlebar, your legs were stiff, and your balance was uncertain. But as you pushed forward, wobbling, and maybe even falling, you slowly began to feel steadier. That steadiness was confidence. It didn't arrive before you started. It was born in the middle of your action. English is exactly the same. You cannot wait for perfect confidence to speak. You must speak first, and let confidence grow from your courage. Too many learners remain silent because they believe silence protects them. They think, if I don't speak, I won't make mistakes, and if I don't make mistakes, nobody can judge me. But what they don't realize is that silence steals opportunities. Silence takes away the chance to connect, to practice, to learn. Silence may feel safe, but it keeps you trapped in the same place. Confidence is not about avoiding mistakes. It's about daring to speak in spite of them. It's about saying, yes, I might be wrong, but I will still try. That single step of courage is what separates those who grow from those who stay stuck. Confidence is not the absence of fear. Confidence is action in the presence of fear. When your heart is beating fast before you say something in English, that is normal. When your mind hesitates and doubts, that is normal. The courage comes when you still go ahead and speak. And once you finish, even if it wasn't perfect, you realize something important. You survived. You spoke. The world didn't end. People understood you more than you expected. That experience gives you a small piece of confidence. Then the next time you feel a little stronger. That is how confidence is built, layer by layer, word by word, moment by moment. Imagine a person who waits for confidence before speaking English. They wait and wait, year after year, practicing quietly in their mind, but never opening their mouth. And then there is another person who speaks from day one, with broken sentences, with wrong words, with nervous pauses. Who do you think improves faster? The one who speaks anyway, because each attempt adds experience, and each experience builds confidence. The person who waits for confidence never moves forward, while the one who dares to speak anyway discovers that confidence is a reward for action. There's another truth you must remember. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you think. When you speak and make a mistake, you might feel like everyone noticed, like everyone is judging. But in reality, most people are focused on themselves. They are not keeping score of your errors. Many of them admire your effort, even if they don't say it out loud. And those who might laugh or judge, they are not your teachers, they are not your supporters, they are just noise. Don't let the noise stop your voice. Your voice matters too much to be silenced by someone's opinion. Every time you choose to speak, even with shaky words, you are training yourself. You are telling your brain, I can do this, and your brain listens. The more you repeat this, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, the fear that once seemed so big begins to shrink. You start to enjoy the act of speaking, even when it's not perfect. That enjoyment is true confidence, not the kind that waits for perfection, but the kind that grows from bravery. Think about some of the most successful people in the world who speak English as a second language. Many of them still have accents, many of them still make mistakes, but what makes them powerful is not perfection, it's confidence. They speak anyway, they deliver their message, and people listen, not because of flawless grammar, but because of genuine courage. If they waited until they were perfect, they would still be waiting. Instead, they stepped forward with what they had, and confidence followed. So don't put your life on hold, waiting for confidence to arrive like a bus that never comes. Create your own confidence by stepping into the moment. Speak when you feel nervous. Speak when you think your words are not enough. Speak when your voice is uncertain. Every time you do, you are building the muscle of confidence. And like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it grows. One of the biggest reasons people give up on learning English is because they expect quick results. They want to wake up in 1 week speaking fluently with a perfect accent and endless vocabulary. And when that doesn't happen, they feel disappointed. They tell themselves, maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe English is too hard for me. But the truth is, fluency is not built in a week or a month. It is built day by day in small, consistent steps that add up over time. Just like water shaping a rock drop by drop, small efforts repeated daily create powerful results. Think about how you learned your first language. You didn't suddenly wake up as a child speaking in full sentences. You started with single words, mama, papa, water, food. You repeated them again and again, sometimes wrongly, sometimes incompletely. Slowly, those words turned into phrases, and those phrases turned into conversations. You didn't rush, you didn't compare yourself to others. You simply took small steps every day, and one day, without even realizing it, you were speaking fluently. The same principle applies to English. Many learners waste time searching for shortcuts, for secrets, for magic methods to learn English overnight. But the magic is already in front of you. Small daily practice. 5 minutes of reading today, 10 minutes of listening tomorrow, a short conversation with a friend the next day. These little moments may seem unimportant, but they are seeds, and when you water them with consistency, they grow into confidence and fluency. Think about a farmer planting a tree. He doesn't stand there every day asking, why hasn't it grown taller? Why can't I eat its fruit already? He knows that growth takes time. He knows that each day, the tree is becoming stronger, even if he can't see it. Language learning is the same. You may not notice your progress immediately, but every small step, every word you read, every sentence you speak is strengthening your foundation. Then one day, without warning, you will surprise yourself. You will watch a movie and suddenly understand most of it. You will have a conversation and realize you didn't pause to translate in your head. That moment will come because of the small steps you took daily. The problem is not that people cannot learn English. The problem is that people give up too early. They think small practice is useless, but it is the only path to mastery. Imagine someone going to the gym. If they lift heavy weights once a month, they won't get stronger. But if they lift lighter weights every day, little by little, their muscles will grow. The same rule applies to your brain. Regular small exercise builds strength, and your English muscles are no different. Small steps also take away the pressure. If you try to study for hours every day, you will quickly feel tired and lose motivation. But if you commit to just 10 minutes a day, it feels manageable. You don't need to wait for the perfect environment, the perfect book, or the perfect teacher. You can practice while walking, while cooking, while traveling. Listen to a podcast, repeat a phrase, talk to yourself in the mirror, Write one short sentence in English every night. These small habits are powerful because they don't demand much, yet they create transformation over time. And here's the beauty of small steps. They build momentum. When you achieve something small, you feel a sense of success. That success gives you energy to do a little more. Before you know it, the steps that once felt tiny start to feel natural, and you begin taking bigger strides. But it all starts with that decision to move, even in a small way. Think of someone climbing a mountain. From the bottom, the peak looks impossible. It feels too far, too high. But the climber doesn't jump to the top in one leap. They take one step, then another, then another. Sometimes they stop to rest. Sometimes they slip. But as long as they keep moving, no matter how slow, they keep getting closer to the top. Learning English is your mountain. The only way to reach fluency is to keep walking, step by step, word by word, day by day. Another thing you must remember is that consistency beats intensity. Studying for 8 hours once a month will not help you as much as studying for 10 minutes every day. Your brain loves repetition, and it learns better in smaller, regular doses. That's why children learn languages so well. They are constantly exposed to it, not in one giant session, but in daily life, through simple, repeated interactions. If you bring English into your daily routine in small ways, you will naturally absorb it without even realizing how much progress you are making. So don't underestimate the power of small steps. Don't think, oh, it's just 5 minutes, it won't make a difference. It will. 5 minutes every day for a year adds up to more than 30 hours of practice. 30 hours can completely change your level, and those 30 hours were not stolen from your busy life. They were built into it through small, consistent effort. Every great achievement in life is the result of small steps. A book is written word by word. A song is composed note by note. A house is built brick by brick, and fluency in English is created in the same way, through small, steady actions that, over time, build something powerful and unshakable. One of the biggest mistakes people make when learning English is tying their journey to the approval of others. They start worrying about how others will see them, how others will judge their accent, their grammar, their mistakes. They think, if I speak and people laugh, I'll feel ashamed. If I don't sound perfect, people won't respect me. And slowly, the desire to learn becomes heavier, filled with fear, filled with pressure. But the truth is simple. You are not learning English to impress anyone. You are learning it for yourself, for your own dreams, for the opportunities that are waiting for you. When you make your learning about others, you give away your power. You let someone else's opinion control your growth. If someone praises you, you feel good. If someone criticizes you, you feel crushed. But when you learn for yourself, you rise above that noise. You know why you are on this path. You know what future you are chasing. And that reason is bigger than anyone's laughter or judgment. Think about a runner training for a marathon. If they train only to hear applause, they will quit the moment the stadium is empty. But if they train because they believe in finishing the race, because they want to prove something to themselves, then even when nobody is watching, they will keep running. Learning English is the same. If you depend on others for motivation, you will stop the moment you face negativity. But if you carry your own why inside you, then no obstacle can stop you. Ask yourself, why do you want to learn English? Is it for a better job, to study abroad, to travel freely, to connect with more people, to understand the world in a wider way? Whatever your reason is, make it personal. Make it something that belongs to you alone. Because when your goal is personal, your journey becomes unstoppable. You no longer need approval. You no longer feel crushed by mistakes. You are simply moving forward, step by step, for the sake of your own future. The truth is, people will always have opinions. Some will encourage you, some will doubt you, some may even laugh at you. But here's the secret. They are not living your life. They are not walking in your shoes. They don't know your dreams. They don't know your struggles. They don't know what you are fighting for. So why let their voices control your choices? At the end of the day, it is you who will benefit from learning English. It is you who will get that opportunity, who will open that door, who will step into a bigger world. So let your motivation be rooted in yourself, not in the fleeting approval of others. When you learn for yourself, you also become more patient. You stop comparing your progress to others. You don't feel discouraged when someone learns faster, speaks smoother, or understands more than you. You realize that their journey is theirs and yours is yours. Comparison steals joy, but purpose gives strength. If you keep your eyes on your own reason, you will move forward with peace and determination. Imagine a student who studies English just to impress a teacher or to prove something to friends. That motivation might push them for a while, but the moment they no longer need to impress anyone, their learning stops. Now imagine another student who studies English because they dream of standing on a stage one day, sharing their story with the world. This student doesn't care if people laugh today because they see the bigger picture tomorrow. They are not learning to look good in front of others. They are learning to fulfill their own vision. That is the kind of power that keeps you going even in the hardest times. And remember, English is not a decoration to show off. It is a bridge to connect you with knowledge, opportunities, and people across the globe. If you treat it like a tool to impress, you will use it only when you feel confident. But if you treat it like a tool to serve your future, you will use it every day, even when it's messy, even when it's broken. And slowly, that messy tool will become sharper, stronger, more natural in your hands. There will be days when you feel like giving up. Days when mistakes feel heavy, when progress feels slow, when voices of doubt echo around you. In those moments, return to your why. Remind yourself why you started in the first place. Was it for the judgment of others, or was it for your own dreams? If it was truly for yourself, then you will keep walking no matter what. Think about this. 5 years from now, when you look back, will it matter what others thought of your accent? Will it matter if someone laughed when you said a word wrong? No. What will matter is whether you stayed committed to yourself, whether you pushed through, whether you reached the life you dreamed of. That life will not be given to you by others. It will be built by you, brick by brick, word by word, not for their approval, but for your own future. Too often, people convince themselves that their voice is too small, too weak, too unimportant to be heard. They think, who will listen to me? My English is not good enough. My accent is strange. My words are simple. I don't have the power to make an impact. And because of these thoughts, they stay silent. They hold their ideas inside. They let fear bury their voice. But the truth is, your voice matters. The way you speak, the way you express, the way you share your thoughts. It has the power to reach someone, to inspire someone, to connect with someone. And English is simply the bridge that allows your voice to travel farther. Every great idea in history started with someone who dared to speak, not someone who spoke perfectly. When inventors shared their discoveries, when leaders gave their speeches, when teachers explained their lessons, they weren't always perfect in expression, but they were brave enough to use their voice. Imagine if they had stayed silent because they feared mistakes. Imagine if they thought, nobody will understand me. The world would have lost so many ideas, so much wisdom, so many stories. In the same way, if you silence yourself because of fear, the world loses your story, your experience, your perspective, and no one else can tell it like you can. Think about the moments in your own life when someone else's words touched you. Maybe it was a friend who encouraged you. Maybe it was a teacher who believed in you. Maybe it was a stranger who shared advice at the right time. Did their words need to be perfect? No. What mattered was the honesty, the feeling, the courage behind them. That is the same with your English. Your words don't need to be flawless to carry meaning. They don't need to be polished to touch hearts. They just need to be spoken. Your voice matters because it represents you. It carries your dreams, your culture, your history, your struggles, your victories. English is only a channel. It doesn't erase your identity, it amplifies it. Some people think that speaking in English means losing who they are, but that's not true. When you speak English, you are not replacing your voice. You are giving it wings. You are allowing it to travel across borders, to reach people you never thought you could reach. And when your voice travels, it creates bridges between cultures, between hearts, between ideas. Don't ever underestimate the impact of your words. You might think, I'm just practicing, nobody cares. But maybe one person listens to you and feels inspired to try as well. Maybe a small conversation you have gives someone else courage. Maybe a story you share helps another learner believe they are not alone. Your voice is like a ripple in water. Once you release it, it spreads farther than you can see. Even the smallest drop creates movement. Yes, people might notice your mistakes. Yes, they might notice your accent. But remember, those things do not erase your message. In fact, they add strength to it. When people hear someone speaking with courage, despite imperfections, they admire it. They see bravery, they see persistence, they see humanity, and often they connect with that honesty more than with polished perfection. Your voice, with all its unique qualities, is what makes your message powerful. You must also remember that silence helps no one. If you keep waiting until your English is flawless, your voice will remain locked away, and the longer you wait, the more you convince yourself that it doesn't matter. But it does matter. Your dreams matter, your thoughts matter, your story matters, and the only way the world can hear them is if you speak. Don't wait for a perfect moment. Don't wait for perfect English. The perfect moment is the one when you decide to open your mouth and share your voice, just as it is. Imagine standing in a room full of people. Everyone has something to say, but only a few speak up. Now imagine you are one of them. You share your thought, your perspective. Even if your English is simple, even if your grammar isn't polished, the room shifts. People hear you, they understand you, they see you. That is the power of speaking. Your voice doesn't need to be the loudest in the room. It just needs to be present. Because when you are present, you make an impact. And here's something even deeper. Your voice is not just for others, it is for you. Every time you speak, you remind yourself that you matter, that your thoughts are worth sharing, that you belong in the conversation. English is not only about communication with others, it is also about building your own self-belief. When you hear yourself speak, when you express yourself in another language, you feel stronger, you feel capable, you feel proud, and that feeling becomes fuel to keep going. So the next time you feel afraid to speak, tell yourself this: my voice matters, my story matters, my dreams matter, and English is simply the key to unlock them. Speak with the words you have now. Speak with the courage you carry. Speak not because you are perfect, but because your voice deserves to be heard. My friend, you now know the truth. English is not a test you must fear. It is a tool to open doors. Every mistake you make is not failure. It is progress, proof that you are alive in your learning. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you build by speaking anyway. Small steps, taken every single day, will lead you to big results you cannot even imagine today. And remember, you are not doing this for others. You are doing this for yourself, for your dreams, for your future. Above all, never forget that your voice matters. The world needs to hear you. Your story, your ideas, your dreams, they are powerful. And English is simply the bridge that will carry your voice farther than you ever thought possible. So don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for perfection. Begin today. Speak today. Take that small step today. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that this very moment was the beginning of a journey that changed your life forever.